the people gonna be right.
So, if all of this, like, world history, what I'm struck by is how there's layers to all of this, and people often think they're the most right-wing person in the room or whatever. They're far-right extremists or whatever. And really, that to them, that just means that they're, like, willing to drop the hard R, or, like, have heard some things about the JQ. They know what the JQ means. They know what those two letters mean next to each other.
They know the
because their
6-7.
parents, their parents who are 50, whatever, really don't know that stuff and really are not immersed in that at all. So you feel radical when you're talking to people who are really just don't know. But what's apparent is that there's so much more, like, the truth, like, that's literally just edgy, like, teenager stuff. The real, like, all of that is up downstream from, like, the root of perceiving people groups as different, acknowledging it, and having an understanding of it, and a willingness to act accordingly. What would you describe am I right? Is that kind of what it all boils down to? Is, like, the difference of different types of people? Or where am I wrong?
It's a big question, especially for where we are.
What does it mean to be right-wing?
It's like the chart that I showed you earlier, where the right wing has such a huge diaspora of thought.
Yeah.
As to
the red,
what is
everybody's...
Yeah, like the right wing ideologically is so spread out. Like, you have libertarians, you have conservatives.
But that's just our American right wing, is it not?
Yeah, it is. Well, it's the right wing. I think across the globe, because even you look at the different like England has, like, what, 19 parties.
But even time, like, even transcending time, like, universal history wise.
Yeah.
Right versus left.
And right. Like, how long do we want to be defined by the French Chamber?
How long has left, like, a picture year, I don't know, 700, or not even, like, BC, whatever, 4,000 years ago.
So
is there anything that even looks like the left?
Yeah, I think.
What is that?
So, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this in a room full of Orthodox people, but if you go back to ancient Rome, like, Rome had what we would consider liberal, and Oswald Spengler phrases this as, in his short work, Man and Technics. He was trying to figure out why liberals dominate in cities, in population groups. And the answer he came to is, like, the rootless cosmopolitan is kind of like the eternal left-winger. Mm-hmm. So if you go to a city like Rome in, I don't know, 50 BC, or if you go to Paris in 1400, you get this idea of someone who is disconnected from their cultural root stock.
Does it go back to the chart of, like, not that chart, but the other chart, the other famous chart of, like, you're more compassionate towards the other than you are towards yourself?
Yeah, because they're disconnected from ideologically and in terms of practice. So, like, this is where you get the juxtaposition between, like, megachurch Protestant versus Orthodox. It's praxis and theory. Mm-hmm. So the cosmopolitan has no praxis for what their people identity group is, because they are surrounded by that merchant class we talked about earlier. They're in the ports, they're rubbing shoulders with people from other cultures, and they're getting firsthand account of people who don't look like them, don't share their values, don't have their practices, have different tastes in art, different tastes in music, might practice a different religion, and so they feel like they're not connected to anywhere, which means I'm connected to everywhere. Well, if you're connected to everywhere, you're really connected to nowhere.
Yeah.
And so that is, in a nutshell, the left-wing, right-wing battle throughout time and space.
Is it a psychological thing?
It's psychological. It's spiritual.
Spiritually, yeah.
It's
But that
it's
can be
racial.
that is something you become because of where you are or is it genetic?
I think. Well,
Or is
It
it because a person is born in an urban situation that
They're
all
more-
of these things lead them to
they're
have
more-
these outcomes?
more than likely,
Like deterministic, but not in the.
Your genetic predisposition to that is going to depend on, are you fifth generation
I see.
New York City?
So you may have blood memory that makes you more resilient against that.
Correct. Like, I grew up in Appalachia. I have family members who are literally from the Mayflower, have always been in small town
If you moved
farming.
to New York and had a son,
And I did live in a city. I've lived in several cities, and
Slick.
each time I lived in those cities, it pushed me further to the right because of that.
because you felt it rubbing against your
Yeah,
against your grain.
right. But if my father had not been an Appalachian person who was the son of a farmer, who was
So
the son of
we're-
a farmer.
So then, what I'm getting at, because we're correct, obviously, we're the most true and the most correct and the most right and the most wholesome
And the most handsome.
Handsome.
and the
And
most aesthetically
funniest.
pleasing,
Funny.
like, and it's properly, there's lots of people who have it here, but they're chained by their vices or whatever.
Mhm.
But if you live it out in praxis, you become the most aesthetically pleasing. How is it that it is good and evil and not like dysgenic, like the left and that type of mindset and the urban state and condition and what all of the stuff that we just talked about does lead to like saggy like female estrogen like whatever and pale skin and like whatever, or it's the type of people who would go to the market to get their food rather than going into their backyard and slitting their lamb's throat and like having a connection with the stuff that they're eating.
Yeah.
That's just one version or one example of one way they're not connected to the
Right.
reality of life and creation. Is
Uh,
it that? But how? I don't know what I'm getting. And maybe somebody can make my words make more sense.
I actually posted an article on my Substack about that exact thing last night.
Like how it's making me think they almost can't help it, and I have compassion for them because
I
they're
mean-
retarded. They can't help it.
Yeah, I think that, and that's like.
Like I
That
want
was
to
the-
kill them
that was the
because
work
they're
of the
trying to
king.
kill me.
Yeah, that was the
but
work
I
of the king
but I am
historically was
compassionate.
to understand that the city is important for the economy and for the growth of the nation, but it shouldn't be at the expense of the people, of the soul of the nation. And so America
So
doesn't
is
have a
it
king.
possible? Because the city thing of like if you
Right,
think
well,
about
that's-
Cain and
Yeah.
like being the first city and all of that kind of stuff, if you're going like Jonathan Pajot, he talks about how it,
Cities
the
are
Bible
founded
starts
on,
in a garden and ends in a city,
Mhm.
and it's the heavenly city is a city. It is urban. It's
Which,
li-
by the way, is I think that's the perfect argument against the notion that technology is inherently
exactly. Exactly.
Because a city is technology.
We're not Luddites.
But does it exist?
Technology is human. It's an extension of our humanness.
But if the city exists for the good of the real thing, it's almost like the head and the heart. How the man, it's gonna be like a 3-part analogy or a 3-way analogy or whatever. I don't know who first. Huh?
Grab the whiskey.
Can you grab the whiskey for me? That's my sign to stop.
No, you got it, man.
No, I like this. Before off camera earlier, we said that if someone goes too long-winded, you hand them the Evan Williams, and it's their signal to shut up. Cat's out of the bag.
You crawled in while he was saying something in particular about the left. So I asked about left wing and right wing. Where does that come from? What's the origin?
I mean,
It's
that's
like
cool,
urban
and
versus rural.
yeah.
But go ahead.
No, I mean, I'm
The-
interested in
the
that.
actual origin of left wing versus right wing is the French chamber. The left wing was the part of the chamber that was against the king, and the right wing was the part of the chamber that was for the king. That's where left wing versus right wing originated.
Viva la Rome.
But then the way we use left
Yeah.
wing and right wing today is more of like kind of like a proxy for
So what was it before
for
that?
underlying temperaments almost. and it's even, I know a lot of people will take left wing as being synonymous with progressive, and right wing as being synonymous with conservative, and I think I think they're not. I think they're kind of orthogonal, or like they're not related to one another really, because, for example, the response to Trump when Trump came on the scene, the response to him was, he is destroying all of our precedents. He's breaking down all of our traditions.
They were
our
conservative
institutions.
left wing.
The immune response to Trump, the Trump derangement syndrome response to Trump by the shit libs was a conservative response.
They wanted to conserve the
status
progress
quo.
the left they had made.
And they not just the progress that they'd made, but the trajectory of progress that they were on. So it's like they're conserving the progression versus the progressing the conserving.
It's like the Ouroboros. We need to keep eating this tail.
So you see this in the dialectic of Dionysian versus the Apollonian. So Dionysian is typically seen as natural and carefree, like free of spirit, and the Apollonian is rigid, ordered, and industrial. But there's a certain point where they invert. And
Brings condemnation onto themselves. It's the greatest temptation in the world, is to be the one who receives the glory from being the unjust victim, the martyr. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a person who's like, I'm a martyr, and what they want is sympathy. So if you read, going back to C.S. Lewis, if you read The Great Divorce, it's not big and it's not heady, but it's actually half the people who cannot bear to stay in the heavenly realm or whatever are that way because of some internal, that spirit that we're talking about, where it's like, I can't believe you've done this to me, and you won't even apologize, and everything I've done. It's almost like the worst mother archetype, where it's like, my children have abused me like this, and it's like The Giving Tree. I hate that book, but it's like, look what I've done. You've chopped me down to nothing, and now you can sit on my stump and read a book. And it's like, okay, great. You're going to hang that over me for all of eternity? I don't get the point of the book. Maybe it went over my head. But anyway, if that is the spirit of
Well,
like...
you didn't read it. You read the you watched a video about it.
watch the synopsis video.
Dude, it's like, I don't have all the time in the world. You know what I mean? I'm a busy
Oh,
person,
You got a derivative.
I was like, I just read The Road by Cormac McCarthy. You should read it. Like, I watched the movie. It was just about like a boy and a kid.
Oh, it was that movie sucked. I'm not going to read that book. I'm not going to read
The
that
movie
book.
sucked. I'm not reading that book.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
So you were talking
Apollonian
about
and
Apollonia
Dionysian,
from
Start-
Godfather Part
Wait,
1.
is that where we pulled off?
It was in the middle of his sentence.
Yeah, Apollonian.
Yeah.
Apollonian and Dionysian. So the Dionysian is very free-spirited, carefree, connected with nature, and the Apollonian is industrial, ordered, and fascistic.
This is like mythology.
Right. And
Wait, is it?
yes. Yeah, from Dionysus and Apollo.
Mythology is history.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying like, okay. I thought you were talking
No,
about...
I knew that
like
it was
your
them.
friend.
within the left-right paradigm, like typically you see the left wing as the Dionysian, obsessed with pleasure, free-spirited, and very hippie, tree-hugging, like connected with nature. And then you get the Apollonian in the right wing, which is military, ordered, and
Apollonian.
yeah, and but what ends up happening is they end up inverting, and they become the Dionysian becomes rigid in its approach to free spirit, and this is why you see like that.
We
crushed.
have to be...
We have to be free spirited. You have to be accepting. You have to be.
Oh, man.
Tolerant.
This is like kind of Popperian.
Yeah.
Karl Popper. The tolerance paradox.
And then on the right wing, it's, hey, a diaspora of thought and opinion will make us better at these things. So be free thinking in your approach to problem solving. And that's how you get this huge diaspora. Like, one of the best examples of this, or like kind of allegories, is the Jedi and the Sith. So the Jedi are very free-spirited, like tolerant.
They're always smooching and kissing each other on the mouth.
Exactly. And then the Sith are, very Crowley and do as thou wilt be the whole of the law.
Yeah.
And
each other.
No,
Sucking.
Luke, I'm your daddy.
Oh no!
Unlimited.
All right, sorry.
Anyway,
And what
sorry.
ends up
Then
happening.
they introduced lightsabers and everything got out.
Oh no.
And then what ends up happening is they end up inverting because the Apollonian or the Dionysian Sith ends up becoming obsessed with power to the point where they create the industry of the empire off of the back of their Dionysian philosophy. And it's the Jedi who are unable to adapt and become Apollonian to their tradition, and they see the destruction of the empire because they're unwilling to act because they're supposed to be carefree. So it's that Apollonian rigid structure of order that they cling to as their society crumbles around them. I totally forgot.
Are you
what
saying
the-
that dialectics are traps?
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah, yeah. It's almost like you need it's almost like you need something that that transcends the problem of the one and the many.
Yeah, almost.
Uh-huh.
If only there could be
So
something.
someone.
One ring to rule them
the
all.
reason, so you're saying, I must have missed when you started introducing this, because when
One
you said
ring?
Dionysius, the one ring.
The one ring you must seek.
Synchronization.
Fucking tonight.
You can't cut that. It's like
You must.
you get three things in one with one. There's the Trinity right there.
Man.
Suffer you must.
Whenever
Cast
you-
off your rod, you must show me. I don't know, just getting real graphic about it.
Gandalf walks up to a transvestite.
You shall not Yeah. You think you pass, but you don't.
Maybe you can do
So-
bloopers.
Yeah.
Okay, so you started talking about Apollonians like Apollo,
Yeah,
and Dionysius like Dionysus.
yeah. The god of wine versus the god of war.
And you are saying, who talks about this being almost like the origin story of two types of people?
So this comes from. Give me a minute while I think of who it was.
This will jog your memory. That's so funny.
So as far as I know, I'm the only one that has drawn this conclusion in terms of like the rootless cosmopolitan versus the rural
It's amazing
farmer.
because it makes brilliant sense. To
You're
me.
going straight to the top.
Seems like seems like I'm arriving at something that's all like everybody else already knew.
Uh-huh.
But I think we're maybe like
It's probably in other terms. I mean, it's very eternal and archetypal, right? It is.
Yeah,
I mean, what you're
yeah.
describing is resonating already.
that's-
It's
We're
familiar.
breaking
but the-
philosophical ground, which means obviously people need to share this.
So
Yeah, I think we're breaking. What's the right way to put the metaphor?
Modern.
These are new terms to reinvigorate, to repaint the already. Like, let's say that the lines are becoming worn over, or tired, or cliched, or we've lost the plot, and now you put on you're taking readily available forms and superimposing them, and it's like, aha, yeah, that's
painting
very.
the
I think-
cracks of the thing.
You
That's
can't
what.
be
Yeah.
you can't be like anti-liberal or be like you're like hip to the fact that the liberal project is dying or that it's this sort of flawed temporal thing, but then also be continually operating within the left-right paradigm, because left-right paradigm I think is intrinsic to the liberal project. But then at the same time, there's also like, you know, you're speaking in the language of the time, and there's some sort of utility to just the shorthand of the language.
So you're
Yeah.
saying that? Wait a second. A minute ago, I thought we were all in agreement that there's different type. There's two types of people: good
Well,
ones. or bad
there is
ones?
two types of people,
I'm a good one.
and they can be mapped onto the right left thing, but they're also not the same thing as the right.
Because
left.
right left is you mentioned that's more of a modern thing since a certain time that was what, a few hundred years ago or something.
Yeah, late 1700s.
1780s.
Yeah.
And so before that, that my question naturally was, before we had right and left, what was that called? Because, or was there? That's what it said. I said in ancient days, was there a left winger, a leftist, a liberal? And
There
you
would've
said
Yeah, cosmopolitan.
cosmopolitan.
There would have been people that would have served the role that left wingers serve in the present day, but it wouldn't have necessarily been under the same terms. Or
The spectrum was much
Yeah.
further to the right.
Yeah,
Our
well,
right.
yes,
Because
for all
our
of
right
time-
is just reality, human.
Yeah, it's tradition.
yeah,
And,
Just
and so that's,
just real life.
yeah, so that's why I like to use the Apollonian versus Dionysian.
Do you think we're at a unique time where today's ultra left end of the spectrum people are uniquely out of touch with reality?
No,
Or there were ancient people who were out of touch with reality?
I think people have always been out of touch with reality. I mean, like you had the ladyboy problem with the Roman
I see.
elite.
But that goes
in
back
ancient
to the
Greece.
common denominator is the decadence that you said
Yeah,
is the precursor to collapse and rebirth or whatever.
Mhm.
So you don't have rampant ladyboy problem in the...
Byzantines?
No, I wasn't going to say that, but I'm sure that everywhere there's someone peddling. The leftist is always the guy who's like, maybe we make it legal for the little boy concubines. There's some guy doing that. It's how popular and how societally
well, and like
available and accepted it is. I think that there are times when it's like the whole of society is more sober-minded and on the same page and rebuilding and whatever, because the decadence has decimated them down to like, all right, we've got to rebuild. We'll learn our lessons. We'll write our history books or whatever. There have to be those in between periods in insulated areas where there's not, the whole spectrum doesn't exist for a time. The left has to regrow. It's almost like the leg gets chopped off of the lizard, and now the left, as we see it, is gone for a period. I assume, I'm not a historian, but then as the strong men create good times, the decadence regrows that deformed limb that ends up going, maybe we just have a few lady boys.
I actually
And then, you know what I mean? Like, it has to be cyclical,
I actually
right?
think that this is kind of a half-baked thought, but I think that you talk about that inversion point with the Apollonian versus Dionysian, that it kind of inverts, and I was thinking about leftism as being something that's like the dissolution of hierarchy, or like it's sort of like an acid that kind of dissolves bonds.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that I don't want to go too far in that direction, because there's like the example I gave just a minute ago about the response to Trump was a conservative response. Like,
right.
it can't just be that like right wing is dedication to tradition, because what is the tradition that you're upholding? What is the thing you're trying to
What
conserve?
are the pearls you're clutching?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I think, this is kind of the half-baked idea. I think reactionarism, the state of being reactionary, may itself be colloquially, it may be a left-wing thing characteristically.
Originally it was.
Yeah,
Originally
it's-
reactionary was left wing.
Right, because it's a rejection of. It's like a compulsive rejection of the status quo, but it's like, it's not necessarily. Sometimes the status quo is bad and needs to be rejected, but there's also, like, it can't be rejected in like a destabilizing way. There's always going to be a hierarchy. There's always going to be we're all Orthodox here. Like, there is hierarchy is natural. Hyierarchy is inherent.
When the hierarchy ends up embodying and
The hierarchy can't be static. The hierarchy has to be dynamic. But you can't over-index on the dynamism, but you also can't over-index on the static.
and I might be talking with a different framework or a different model, but it seems to me that when the hierarchical, when the more static and becoming hardened hierarchical structure embodies or ostensibly embodies corruption, the punk spirit arises as if from thin air.
If you're too rigid, you will actually give birth to the.
But it's like distilled out of the air, like it condenses. It comes out of there's going in the human spirit hidden is the punk, right? But if the punk of the Bush era was the left wing American idiot, whatever, but then there was this pole reversal. Where now the true American punk is this dissident right, whatever, whether you identify with that or not, but it is, the right wing is punk.
They thought they had you under their spell. But now you can have all the white pill power right in the palm of your hand. Introducing the Goyen, the Gamma Oscillation Yield Interface Module, your direct connection to EWBSX, the cyber bully, the only radio station that really gets it. It's peaty, it's high tea, and it's always playing bangers. Plus, you'll never be blackpilling again with plenty of high thumos sound bites and regular doses of timeless wisdom from the cyber bully himself. Available in 2 frequencies. Alpha mode for the untamed stallion, and family mode for sensitive ears. Disintegrate the limbs, the grifters, and the subversives. Tune in to the sounds of Eternal White Boy Summer today on your very own Goyim device. EWBSX, the cyber bully. Radio for our guys. But the power of the Goyim in the palm of your hand today. Available for download on all Apple and Android devices.
This is why we're making the case here for why I'm actually a moderate rational centrist. I'm not too given to one side or the other.
Because you don't want to be called a reactionary because it takes the wind out of you, or it takes the it disqualifies your position to be called a reactionary.
I think
so you're
reactionary.
Saying that you're a principled moderate.
I think reactionary is to identify as a reactionary is to cede agency. And it's to make yourself subservient.
No one's going to identify as a reactionary unless they're doing it defiantly.
So, well,
which is ironic. It's a meta layer.
That's inherent to it. Yeah.
But I kind of do that because I'm like, how dare you call me reactionary?
Well,
how about I?
Maybe we get.
I'm reactionary, and then you pull out a gun and shoot them.
Are you the one holding the frame, or is the frame being held on you?
Well, being called a reactionary is this trump card used by people who act like they're above it all and they're the objective scholars. Like.
Well, I guess I'm coming from this dissident right world where reactionary is actually a way people identify themselves as.
Sure. Well, it used strictly, and I don't really I don't know the strict definition of the word, but it seems to me that it's a person who doesn't have an anchor or is
to me, it's like calling yourself a dissident. Like you don't like
you're just
being a
identified
dissident
by the defined by your opposition or whatever, which we have to do a video about, and we will to promise the folks at home because I know we're coming to a close with this eventually. We got a deep dive.
We're going all night.
We're going all night, baby. We do it all night. We do it all right. We do it all night. That was Jason Aldean.
I want to say real quick, just while we're on this, that there's the thing I said a minute ago about the hierarchy. Like, you don't want the hierarchy to be too rigid, but you also don't want it to be too dynamic. There's within Orthodoxy, there's the principle of economia, which is like you have the established tradition, you have the established hierarchy. This is this is the principle of iconography. This is the Father is manifested by the Son, the
but
priest
it's also
being
living and organic.
Yeah. But then there's also that human element, which is that sometimes the proper order of the tradition or the hierarchy may not be appropriate in a given moment. Mm-hmm. And so the responsibility or the accountability is invested in a particular person of leadership who is granted this ability through free will to identify this is a moment where the rules need to be adjusted. But you don't want to identify yourself with the exception. If the exception becomes the rule, then it's no longer the exception and the rule has now become a different rule. So you have to have both the rule and the exception. And we have to be able to live with this tension and know that each one of us at the end of time is going to be confronted with the way that we balance these things, and we have to be held accountable.
You know what's
for that.
crazy too?
Thank God for confession.
And I don't know if I'm going to be able to articulate this, but I feel like I need to shoehorn it in because it's a true miracle, and it's the miracle of apprehending God, not comprehending God, but apprehending God at all. The whole point, in case anyone missed it, of true Christianity is that God, in fact, is not an algorithm or a constitution or whatever. He's
a person.
Personal. He's three persons, but he's one, and so it's his total prerogative to, like, the economy of God's grace cannot ever be like comprehended.
The thief on the cross wasn't baptized.
Right, and so it literally does, not to sound cliched or mushy or anything, but it really does end up coming full circle back to like, hey, if you're not going to experience grace in a genuine manner outside of just being knocked over by your undeserved, unrequited, not just forgiveness, like you're off the hook to do your thing. You know what I mean? Because there's such an emphasis on forgiveness and some whatever. But so my point in saying this is because it's not just that you need someone to interpret the law, like you need the Supreme Court to interpret the Constitution. It's that the Constitution isn't the end-all, be-all. It's that the society, the American people, and the life, the blood and soil, the life of the American people is what it's about. It's not about the Constitution. And similarly, it's not about the theology. It's about God interfacing with man in a way that fulfills infinitely, like fills the infinite. I'm at a loss for words, but it's beautiful for you to bring up the priest doing it. It's not just a necessity because the canon law can't interpret itself. That's not why we have economia. We have economia because grace has to be bestowed. Because at the end of the day, it's about love and compassion. It's not about math and sterile, utopic
rules. They're meant to be broken.
Like the law is written on your heart, and like with the Constitution, when you embody law in a document, you're not prescribing something. This goes to the sola scriptura thing. When you embody law in a document, you're not prescribing something for the future. You're describing something in the present. And at the point that you have to start appealing back to it to enforce it, that's an indicator that something's gone wrong.
And it's also man wasn't created for the law, and the law wasn't created as an end, and yet it's the guardrails between which it's not for obedience sake that God demands obedience for us. It's for freedom's sake that Christ set us free. You can't read that, and like we were talking about off camera, you cannot read those words, stick your associations onto the words and be like, I get it, I get the gospel. Next, you literally have to spend years becoming progressively more sanctified in order to even receive the grace of being like, what the heck is freedom? Because if you take the bastardized Americanism of freedom and what it means, like, I can have as many Coors Lights as I want and I can cuss on a Sunday. And the NASCAR and the Toby Keith, like, all that stuff's cool, but it cannot be the ends of conservatism or the right wing or whatever. It has to be something that comes with a sacrifice. Like, it has to somehow be married up with, you can't live unless you die, unless you lay your life down for Christ. So if you're pursuing a libertarian vision of like ultimate humanistic freedom, it's a dead end even if they had their utopia. It would be people rushing, getting in line to get in the suicide pods. Highly recommend...
the suicide pod?
No. Highly recommend
Move to Canada.
Past Master by R.A. Lafferty. There's an area, it's something that sounds like Astrolabe, but it's Astro something or whatever, and it's this golden city, and they really are without want. And the people who many people are rushing out of the golden city where everything's perfect to live in the weird industrial slums of like rust and sludge, and they can't explain why it's happening. And those that do manage to like stay complacent and stay in the city are like sort of meandering and then wandering into these suicide pods, and they're like, I guess I need to end it all.
Well, like if
And
you
it's
if,
like,
you, if you can have everything that you if you have everything that you want, if you have anything that you can desire, then the only thing you don't have is whatever's on the other side of death.
Full circle, we're coming back to another one for the book list for those who haven't, The Great Divorce. Because in C.S. Lewis's conception of hell, each man and woman at the snap of their fingers can have infinite food, sex, literature, prestige, privacy, everything. And what it looks like is this desolate, endless sort of shadowland. Because that's the condition of the human heart. And you get a little glimpse of that when you're like 11 years old and you save up $6 and you buy yourself your first box of Little Debbie donut sticks and you eat them all in one sitting and you go, what have I done? That's a real story from me, by the way. that was my first glimpse of hell. Was
There's something
let
heavenly
off.
about deprivation.
The closest we are to hell is when we like have too much of what we want.
There's a song. There's
The
a
fall of Adam and Eve was that they did not fast.
Yeah, and so and their it's the trust and the obedience to the constraints of the will of God, within which they have their freedom, because they were designed to be in that hierarchy. Last note before you jump in on this, because I know we hit the old Christian music, not the brown. Oh Sleeper, you listen to the album.
They have a new album coming out.
Nice. So the one that I was big on had the track "When I Am God," and you listen to it, and it's like, fun little play on words or whatever, because it's not like when I become God I'm going to do this and that. It's like when I am God, all hell breaks loose. Like it's horrific. It's abominable, and it's like sometimes you need periodic reminders of that on an individual basis. But then bringing it back to the macro, that's what we're talking about when the barbarians are at the gates, is because the decadence is everyone being like, oh, well, it felt really good to do the sex thing, but what if we unleashed the bounds of that? I read this guy, Aleister Crowley, he was really into poop. Maybe we try poop. And then you find out you're in hell like that.
Try the other holes.
Try the other poop holes. There's more than one poop hole I discovered.
In the hole.
What if we put pee in the poop and then we do sex with the poop pee?
Well, check out those Indians over there. Maybe we should do what they're doing and swim in the poop.
You triggered this thought for me that I remember this from Lord of Spirit. They talked about how the logos, the ordering principle of the universe.
Logos.
What are you doing, Christopher Walken over?
The Logos.
Logos.
Never let the goops get the logos.
The ordering principle of the universe is human. It's Christ. Christ is the ordering principle of the universe. He is human. He's fully human and fully divine. Which means to become more fully human is to become more fully divine. And this is the what's the word I'm looking for here? This is the telos of humanity, is to become more and more divine.
So,
Divinity is infinite. You can become more as a human. You can become more and more divinized into eternity. The more divinized you become, the more divinized there is to become.
And the
because
opposite,
he's infinitely
unfortunately,
beyond us.
The bottomless pit is the alternative.
Yes.
There's no bottom to your hell, which is really scary.
So this concept of like fasting being divine, it's this reminder that no matter how far you advance, you still have it's like you're running a race where God is forever ahead of you. This is don't take this as theology here. I'm trying to distill this into retard thought here for myself.
Thank you.
Like the further, it's like you're running a race trying to catch up to God, but because
he's Sonic.
How high are the heavens?
Yeah, exactly. Because how high are the heavens? Like no matter how far you go, you're never going to reach the end point of God. You're always going to have further to go, and you've progressed beyond where you were before. Before it seemed like here's the limit. I've moved beyond the limit, but look at that. Actually, just because I moved beyond this limit here, there's still further to go.
Well, and here's my little scary inverse of that. You can keep cutting a thing in half. So you can keep diminishing as a person. The more self-serving you are, the more shaving off you are to yourself, because what you're serving is desire, is want.
You can cut yourself in half infinitely.
And if you fall in love with desire, and then you lose any connection to the heavens, to the infinite in the bigger direction and the macro, it's like eternally you're cutting yourself in half because you keep selling yourself out to want. Going back to the Ouroboros, there's more snake to consume. It just keeps getting tighter and smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So you become more and more diminished.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it boggles the mind.
And so then to become more, to experience the fullness of God is the inverse of what you're describing there. The snake that's eating itself and getting more and more condensed down, more and more like dense and compacted. Then you invert that around.
So as the snake gives up his own sustenance, he finds that he himself is growing. It's like, fasting yields spiritual nourishment.
Yes.
And so the more that you lay down for God, the more you find yourself being materialized in the ether. Like your real spirit
breeds
self.
growth.
Right. So there's the flesh, which as it gets bloated, like your actual truer self is becoming dissipated. I love the word dissipation. When in the scriptures it says, don't be a drunkard or whatever, because this is or a whatever the passage is, it says, for this is dissipation. I don't know if this is just me doing the tell a vision, the Candace Owens thing that Nick Funder was talking about. I may be doing that, but I'm okay to admit that. When I hear the word dissipation, I think of
do the negress thing.
The negress thing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. I'm saying if a person is dissipated, I always thinking of being diluted, like something that's dissipating.
Mm-hmm.
So if something is dissipation, it means like, okay, you've overconsumed to the point where your spirit, you're insensitive now.
Well, it's like, you're dissipating, you're becoming distilled, watered down, depersonalized.
Yeah, opposite of distilled, or not, whatever. Yeah, both ways, I guess.
Yeah.
What's being distilled out of you, what's left over is your
nucleus.
Oh man,
whoa, wait a second. Is distilled one of those words that can mean the opposite of itself? I just thought of that.
Maybe. Like,
because like to distill something is
there
to
has
bring
to
it
be an
down, but then
object.
it also is like
To
You distill
distill
something
something is a process.
yeah, and there's two parts that come out of it. So there's the moonshine and the mash that's left. Well, which one are you talking about?
Yeah, right. Are you talking about the purification that happened to the moonshine, or are you talking about the splitting apart that happened to the original substance?
Yeah.
Most often.
You were pulling open your book like you were about to read something.
Yeah, it was on reactionary when you said you don't want to be reactionary or labeled as reactionary. And this book, on the first page, I love it when they publish fascist thinkers. The book starts here. And this is hey, don't judge him on his politics.
Oh, so that's the what do you call it? Like the disclaimers?
Yeah, this is literally the disclaimers about the thinker.
This is
the book.
This part in the front here is the introduction written by Debbie Longhouse, I think is her name.
So the book starts on page 112.
Wow.
What book is it?
Men Among the Ruins, a post-war reflection of a radical traditionalist
by
Julius Evola.
And
so he says, naturally the term reaction intrinsically possesses a slightly negative connotation. Those who react do not have the initiative of action. One reacts in a polemical or defensive way when confronted by something that has already been affirmed or done. Thus it is necessary to specify that reaction does not consist in parrying the moves of the opponent without having anything positive to oppose him with. The misconception could be eliminated by associating the formula of reaction with that of conservative revolution, a formula which a dynamic element is evident. In this context, revolution no longer signifies a violent overthrow of a legitimate established order, but rather in an action aimed at eliminating a newly emergent disorder and at reestablishing a state of normalcy. So that is the difference between right-wing reaction and left-wing reaction.
Mm-hmm. So right-wing reaction is an imposition. It's an eliminative. Is that a word? Eliminative?
It is
eliminatory.
Now. It is now.
It's like
Yeah.
an immune response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To something
It,
disorderly.
it just
it's a
means
purge.
it's based when we do it and bad when you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it's the orcs who are reacting against this beautiful civilization,
This beautiful heterosexual Aryan couple.
right?
Yeah.
When it's the orcs
They
at
were
the
mixed
gate,
race.
Yeah.
they're being reactionary in a left-wing way, where they're here to burn down something beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
If it's the
Riders of Rohan.
Riders of
reacting
Rohan
against-
defending and reacting against the orc invasion, it's based when we do it. Period.
It's good when we do it and bad when they do it.
Right.
Yeah, when we do it, it's medicine.
Well,
When you do it, it's poison.
Now I
Back
want to
to-
hear Theoden's speech.
Unironically.
You need to put that in here, right?
Yeah.
After that, you need to put in Theoden's speech.
But-
It's a red day. What is it he says?
Oh shoot! Yeah, when he's running up
Yeah.
and down the.
Now
Yeah.
for wrath, now for ruin, and a red dawn.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, I was just gonna say these two archetypes, these two mythological oppositions or whatever. One of them's more right than the other, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's
And
always...
that's what's left.
But what do you say? You were saying earlier that there's like a third position, or that the balance is the real thing. Is that like some like Hindu avatar?
No, I mean it's the Mussolini quote that I opened with. Like, we allow ourselves to be revolutionary when the time is right for it, or reactionary when the time is right for it, and we allow ourselves tradition when the time is right. It's
Mm-hmm.
economia in a political sense.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's the conserved dynamism.
Yeah.
I see. And so
Got to be agile on our feet.
it's interesting. Have you ever seen Naruto?
Yes.
You know,
Can you
have
demonstrate
you watched
the
the whole
Naruto
thing?
run for us?
Wait.
Have you watched the whole thing?
I watched all of Naruto. I'm on episode 15 of Shippuden. Or as my dad likes to say,
shoot, bro.
Shippuden.
When I say Naruto, I mean the whole thing.
Okay.
Not not anything after Shippuden.
Okay.
Anyway, when you get to the end of Shippuden, I'm not gonna try to spoil anything.
You can spoil it. I've had plenty
You're
of
okay
time to
with
get
it?
caught up.
Okay. It ends up being, it basically the entire show is like Japanese mythology, like
Mhm.
literally one to one name, like from there. If you look up instead of Greek mythology, it's the Japanese mythology or whatever.
Mhm.
If you watch, there's a YouTube video that just goes through the whole thing. One to one name, they just name all the characters the exact same things that their mythology is or whatever. But it ends up ultimately being the origin story, where there's this great tree of life, and that births two people, two sons that are like twins or whatever,
Mhm.
and it is the origin of the Uchiha clan and the Uzumaki clan, and basically those are the two halves of. It's basically the god or whatever cut himself in half. It's kind of like Hindu or whatever.
Mhm.
But cut himself in half and put some of him in this one and some of him in this one, and it's two expressions of the same whatever.
Yeah.
And then throughout the generations, that translates to all these different variations or whatever. But ultimately, that's still the main thing. It's
Right.
these two families, these two whatever. And then I've been rewatching Avatar: The Last Airbender with my 6-year-old.
Yeah.
He's freaking loving it. It's perfect timing.
Yeah.
And it's like the best show ever. I love it. I still love it. I still genuinely enjoy it as a man, as a grown man. I'd watch it. I would watch it by myself and enjoy it. Anyway, same thing. They have this one particular episode where they talk about the origin story of these two clans that are like diametrically opposed to each other. One of them is kind of sloppy, slob, wild people, and the other one is very proper and whatever, orderly. And he has to lead them through this thing or whatever, and he talks about their origin. There's many other iterations of this exact same story. Is that because everybody knows the story? It's almost like antediluvian legends or something.
Yeah, it's the meme
Yeah.
of the black guy who studied really hard and he was a dweeb and he had that stack of books when that thug was getting the girl, but then later on she was pregnant.
About Yakub.
No. You guys, no, that one's real antediluvian. No, the meme where the nerd black guy, and then later he's holding a fistful of cash, but the girl is now pregnant and her man left her, and he's standing proudly with his suit on.
Yeah.
it's funny because that's just a meme that we all laugh about or whatever, and
It's like
yet
Indian
it's there.
type
You'll
stuff.
find it anywhere. You find the hard ass and the free spirit who has things coming to him, the lazy grasshopper and the hardworking ant. If the ant, all work and no play, makes Jack a dull boy, who said that but the Dionysian? Probably. I don't know.
Got the city mouse
I'm
and
just
the
saying,
country mouse.
anything that you say, any like story itself is built around the Cain and Abel. They're always going to be there. One of them's going to be cool. Like name a freaking story, like Batman and the Joker. Whatever. Anything can be looked at through this lens if you just try. If you use enough words, and I don't think it's an accident.
You said name any story. I said Rhett and Lake.
Rhett and Lake, that you can do it to them.
They
You can
became
look
real
and be
gay.
like,
Literally.
one of them's a little
John and
gayer than
David.
the other one. This one's taller and has long.
We talked about
hair
One of them
projecting.
likes men.
Well, that's where the role reversal was. Is the one that looked like he was taller and had a mane of hair that projected masculine confidence ends up being the fag, and the other one who's like, I'm just a little guy. He ends up being,
I don't need muscles.
I don't need much.
I've got my books.
You know what occurred to me the other day? Chickens Naruto run.
Yeah, they
They
do.
don't have a choice.
They don't have a choice.
But this is what I mean about you can't quite. It's slippery because you can always turn out no
Well,
matter
that's-
what you are. Because think about the most prolific homosexuals are also some muscle hunks. Strong, big dudes,
'cause
great
they're the ones that
complexion,
dominate.
great hair, great clothing. That's all stuff that I want. Great fashion,
be-
big muscles,
You want to be a
good
mostly
hair,
gay man?
all that stuff. Well, that's my point. Is
Are you saying you're horny for
if
Batman?
you pursue it strongly, but then you pursue strength and attractiveness as its own end, you end up becoming spiritually effeminate. So if you go,
Yeah.
if you follow the Andrew Tate without the tempering of Christianity, you end up being pretty gay. You're like, how many Bugattis you got? And I'm like, that's a
Bugattis.
fag thing to say. Even though
Bugattis.
you're like, I got so many women. And this, ironically, we end
Remember
up
he
back
said
at Nick Fuentes.
he would suck Megan Fox's dick if she was a tranny.
Aha! You end up back there because when you pursue your masculinity you become obsessive about it. You turn it in on yourself. You fall in love with yourself, and what are you besides a
Gay.
man?
A faggot.
That makes you gay because you love
Yes.
yourself, who is a man.
Yeah, I mean. you
So
see this-
self-love is gay.
Yeah. I mean, you see this constantly with like super hardline men's rights actors like Jack Donovan.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. They end up being like super homoerotic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I think there's something there in this dichotomy, that in this endless struggle that you're talking about. Are you going to be straight, which makes you self-sacrificial and thinking about the other, and you are existing? I tried to do this earlier, and you said I shoehorned myself in, and I did. Guilty as charged, but now I'm going to say my thing. The head, if you exist for yourself and you live in your head, you get real gay real fast because you're like, everything's got to be orderly, logical, efficient. You do that for its own sake, your heart is missing. You have nothing that it's for. It's just for efficiency. You end up being Weston in Paralandra
Yeah.
in the Space Trilogy, where you're obsessed with this sterile perfection, this humanistic perfection. It's very gay.
You're talking about Philostrato.
I don't know. It was one of the two original ones in Out of the Silent Planet. But the point is, if you are all heart and you're like, I just go by my impulses, well, then you're automatically gay. You're gay from the outset. You're being feminine because you're just like, I'm a wild spirit. I can't be nailed down. I don't need order. I don't follow organized religion.
I'm a creative. I can't go to a 9 to 5 or whatever.
Right. That's just a person with no discipline. So they're starting with ultra soy estrogen surplus. Both of them, whether you fall off one side of the ditch on one side of the road or the other, it's horseshoe theory, and the ends of the horseshoe are you are a fag.
If men's rights activists are ultimately faggots, then the natural corollary to this must be that alpha males are the true feminists.
Anyone going
Yes.
to repeal the 19th is the feminist.
Yeah, right. We're repealing the 19th
Well,
for your own
basically,
sake.
essentially,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, that would be the best sales pitch to it. Like, don't trouble yourself with all of this.
Yeah, it's like
Don't
the
worry
text where it's
about
like, what's going on with the economy? Don't worry about it, kitten.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
You worrying about politics and who to vote for. Now, what's their policy? That's
This
taking
is
away
so
from your
much-
career.
This is so much work for you. You don't
There's
need
a
to do this
there's
work.
a reason why women
You need to
and
engage
children,
in self-care.
You know how women and children are always named together, women and children first?
Mm-hmm.
We already had the revolution of realizing that 6-year-olds shouldn't be climbing around in industrial machinery because we're like, they're children, their innocence should be
Right.
preserved. Now, let's just extend that to the
Women
other
shouldn't
part.
be climbing around in political machinery.
They shouldn't be climbing around in the office either.
Yes.
They
Yes.
shouldn't be climbing around behind the wheel.
As John Doyle said, I mean, if we had it our
They should be
way,
climbing around the birthing bed.
if we had it our way, they wouldn't have been burdened with literacy in the first place.
Yes, right. Think about all the stress that it brings them having words in their head all day.
Yeah.
They could just have pictures and vibes and emotions and they'd be perfectly happy.
It is happy. It's a happy life. And
Yeah.
then
Attention Patriot business owners. Are you sure you're getting the best deal from your credit card processor? It's time to look again. Introducing Rock Solid Merchant Services, the only choice for our guys. Rock Solid keeps you in compliance. Rock Solid never raises rates. Made by Patriots for Patriots. No bait and switch, no hidden fees, just a rock solid deal. Make the switch today and see for yourself. Call 615-785-7171. That's 615-785-7171. Or you can check them out in the partners section of the Goyim device. Why stay soft when you could be rock solid? Rock Solid Merchant Services.
If I could snap my fingers and make all of us have Down syndrome, I would.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ooh,
totally.
but it's not our
We'd
what
all
we
be
should be.
Have you ever met someone with Down syndrome? They're the happiest person
Yeah,
you ever
they-
seen.
But that's you
they
seeking
are.
happiness for yourself.
Which is
Gay.
Oh, I'm gay.
Sorry, but if you see, but if you could snap your fingers and wish that all women had Down syndrome, that's great.
What is that called?
I wish
What is that
I
called?
wish all women were retarded. It would be a lot easier, like literally retarded, handicapped. It would be, but still hot.
Is there a word for retardophile? Is that hard?
It's also that genie meme where it's like, Genie, I wish that all women were retarded, and the genie's like,
Nothing
What do you
changed.
granted. Yeah, nothing
Granted.
changed.
Wish granted.
Yeah. If you made it this far, go ahead and smash that like button. Like
bucket?
bucket. Smash that like button.
Smash that freaking like button and
Share
don't
this
forget to
with your
turn on
friends.
notifications.
Share the 6-hour pod with your friend.
And if you want the second 6 hours, you're going to have to go over to the other side of the paywall.
If you made it this far, go ahead and smash that like button. And if you want to see the second 6-hour half,
It's on the other side of the paywall, aka the other side of the ice wall.
can we do it again?
Yeah.
Let's go from the top. Smash that like button.
Smash that like button. If you've made it this far in the video, make sure you go ahead and smash that like button.
Don't forget to turn on notifications.
If you made it this far in the video,
Smash
go
that
ahead
like
and smash
button.
that like button. And if you want to see the second half of this podcast, the second 6-hour half of this podcast, go ahead and go to the other side of the ice wall, where you can find people like us, supported by people like you.
And that's what makes me, well,
Me.
me. My name's Bradley, and I play clarinet. And that's what makes me, well, me. Welcome to Disney Channel.
My name is Corbin Blue, and this is Disney Channel.
My name's Corbin Blue, and you're listening to Disney Channel. Hey, hey.
Louis Armstrong?
Can you do
I
one?
thought it was
Fat Albert. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hey, hey, hey.
My name's JoJo Siwa. Welcome to Disney Channel.
I know we didn't go down every single rabbit trail, but if you just knowing what you know from what we've talked about from Matt and what he said and all this kind of stuff, if you applied what he said about the H-1B situation and the recent clip to every other thing that people have been upset about, people who voted for Trump and had hopeful eyes have been lamenting since day one. If you
want
applied
facts
that
right
same
now.
thing to every single other one, where are you on the spectrum? How do you feel? Do you think it's just the lack of information? Everything's getting editorialized in
Well,
the
it's
wrong
funny.
way?
I
or what
told
do
you guys
think?
earlier, my dad, who is
The opposite
I mean-
of terminally online.
He's not quite the opposite. Like, he knows who Yarvin is. He sort of like played footsie with the dissident right for a little while, but he's kind of too busy to pay attention to everything. He's like mid-Gen X kind of federal employee. It was funny. He just texted me the other day, like right in the middle of this. It was yesterday, I think. It was right in the middle of this whole brouhaha of everyone is like, "Oh, I just totally been let down and abandoned and betrayed, and it's all over." And he texted me. He was like, "Man, it's incredible how much the Trump administration has accomplished in such a short time." And I was just like, it's so ironic that you texted me that. He's like semi-online.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he interestingly, he actually keeps up with Rod Dreher a lot.
But if it comes down to, I think most of the things come down to what we did touch on is that people who are disappointed were really hoping for extreme politics right now.
Yeah. Well,
yesterday.
So like.
And people who are not disappointed and saying just trust the plan, understand,
yeah,
or their point of view is that you can't have extreme politics right now because nobody's ready for it. They're doing
you want to be
inch by inch game.
You want to be seen as the person that's calm and rational. If you go extreme, then you've lost the base.
My
you've lost the reaction.
My perspective on my position is that, if anything, I'm actually the real accelerationist in the room, because
yours is the fastest way to get what you want.
Right. If your goal is that you want the sorts of things that are going to be brought about by, that it can only be brought about by consolidated executive power, the shortest route to consolidated executive power right now is you just, even if it's performative, you just fully throw your support behind Trump. You absolutely manifest as much consolidated power in him as possible, and you establish that as a pretext. You establish that as an American political precedent that we are going to manifest the executive president. And if we're manifesting the executive president to do, I don't know, whatever gay shit, I don't think he would do whatever gay shit, but even if he did, like, you've now established that precedent of the executive president unilaterally exerting executive power. The shortest route to that is fully uniting behind him and like memeing him into God Emperor status. And if that falls short, well, you wind up basically where we were before, which is a rejuvenated left wing taking power, and
we were halfway to the FEMA camps before he came back for a second term.
Yeah, I think the one nice thing about getting to the FEMA camps is that there's enough disaffected young white men that
we can get,
but they're not organized, and they can't organize.
They don't have to be. As long as you're organized locally, like I'm assuming.
So.
Have you ever read Dune?
Dune?
Dune.
Yeah.
Have you read the other books as well?
I've read up to
4 God Emperor.
God Emperor.
Dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I read one past that and it got weird.
You did what?
I think there's 5 books, right?
There's 6 that he wrote and then 2 that his son wrote.
Okay,
I read all 8.
Yeah, so
I think 5 is when space Jews come into play.
Yeah, that one got weird. I did read it. I don't remember it though. I don't remember.
Oh, that was so good, dude. Because it's all about the golden path. This is a guy who spent like 3,500 years.
You want to keep it on?
This is the book is about Leto Atreides II, who has spent 3,500 years consolidating his power, becoming the most powerful tyrant in all of universal history. And he is trying to subjugate and tyrannize humanity so much that the pressure of his tyranny will make them like evolve and become stronger.
Yeah.
And it makes he essentially brutalizes them and like keeps them so suppressed that
I'm so glad it didn't hit me in the balls.
It takes 3,500 years for someone to usurp him.
Yeah.
I'm so glad my balls are still in my stomach.
I'm so glad my balls didn't drop.
So like, the part of my problem is I have a lot of historical context, and there's this like meme going around the super far right is like, you can have everything you want as long as you're willing to be violent enough to get it. And I don't want to Fed post, so disavow. But like Sparta, for example. Sparta started as a group of people. They were part of the Dorian race, and they were originally from Egypt, and they went to fight in the Battle of Troy. And Troy famously took 15 years. And when they returned home to their Dorian land, they weren't welcomed because they had been gone for so long that they told them to leave. So they went back to Greece, and they founded Sparta. And
Where was their homeland?
it was originally like part of Egypt, Libya region. Used to be called Dorian, like
the Dorian
60
scale.
Yeah, like in
Da,
6500
da, da, da,
BC
da,
region.
da, 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 da. It's perfect Dorian scale.
Was it? Did you do your?
Do you think
flawless.
the Egyptians who built the pyramids were Aryans?
Yeah.
Was they kings?
Yeah, we was kings.
Yeah, we was.
Was they?
We will be
was
again.
they kings?
No. We were kings.
Yes. But yeah, so like Sparta started to, in its early founding, started to become extremely decadent. And it started as this group of nomadic warriors leaving their homeland, as I've said, that, you know, that's essentially the European project. And almost overnight, they flipped it and established military aristocracy. And it was through a violent revolution of a very small subset of the elites of the Dorian stock
Yeah.
subjugated everyone else. And so in order to be considered a citizen in Sparta, you had to pass the citizenship test. And so essentially what happened was they took every boy out of the home at the age of 7, put them through rigorous training, and then at the end of that training you had to survive.
You became Master Chief.
Yeah, essentially, yes. And if you failed the test
117.
but lived... Wait, what?
Dawn 117.
No.
This is the.
Is it
Oh yeah, you
Halo
don't.
reference?
This is
Oh,
literally
yeah,
because it's based off of that. So like
Okay.
Master Chief and all the Spartans are kidnapped at the age of 7.
Don or John?
And
It's John, but this is an astrolabe talking
They're
about
secretly
the Donald
Yeah.
being
and
Dawn
their
117.
children are replaced with
Trump is Master
a
Chief.
clone that dies after like 2 or 3 years.
Oh.
And then they're pumped full of like super soldier serum, and
Yeah.
they have like lifelong training regimen.
Yeah. So, like, you could be a Spartan child, born to Spartan citizen parents, aristocratic lineage, the whole nine, fail the test, and not be called a Spartan. Because a Spartan is the citizenry who is able to pass the citizenship test.
It makes me think of Starship Troopers too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So it's not just a. It's not simply heritable. It's also
Merited.
yeah, it's both.
So it's like it's like a heritable meritocracy.
Right. So if you were born to slaves
Or
in
a
Sparta,
meritable
you would not
heritocracy.
be able to
take
even
the test.
take the test. Like you
Right.
would never be selected for training. But if you were selected for training and didn't make it, you're still not a
It's
Spartan.
Punnett Square.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this military aristocracy, these elites, literally flipped their society overnight and became Sparta. Julius Caesar, another great example. You know, the empire is decadent, it's decaying. You have all sorts of political factions and rivalries in Rome. One of my favorite podcasts is called The Cost of Glory. They did a 6-part series on Julius Caesar. Highly recommend. I love Caesar so much. This is kind of an aside. My wife got me a bronze Julius Caesar statue
awesome.
for my birthday a couple years ago. But anyways,
So your wife is supportive of your hobbies.
yes. But she like knows nothing about them for the
Yeah.
most part. And she asked me a couple years ago. She's like, "Is it frustrating that like when you go off on your autistic tangents that I can't like converse with you?" I'm like, "No," because when I come home and I'm talking about Nietzsche's whatever, I don't want you to go actually like
Yes.
listen to me tangent and cook my dinner. Like
Yes.
that's all.
And just
You're-
trust me to like know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Be
Your
like,
job is to receive my seed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That being said, my wife is incredibly intelligent,
Mm-hmm.
and so like, she's not well versed in like politics
Wife guy.
theory. Yeah,
He's a wife guy.
yeah, I'm a wife guy.
He's a wife guy.
I'm gay.
Yeah. He's so gay. He loves his wife.
It's like the Matt Walsh thing.
That's the biggest. See, that's like our.
It's a Nick Fuentes
my only
thing.
biggest like gripe against Groips is that whole thing. Like but that's just symptomatic of other things where they, it's like they don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On certain really important things.
Yeah. Well, like, I know it's like kind of antithetical to orthodoxy, and I'm working on it, but like I'm such a racialist that like part of European heritage has always been loving our women. Like they've always had special status within the hierarchy, within the home. And
European women have always been very politically powerful as well, even without having
political power.
political power.
I only
they
saw
have,
the movie
They have
300
political power by
and,
proxy
the
of their
women
husbands.
very
Yeah. And like that's kind of how I'm raising my daughters is like, look, I don't necessarily want you to go to college. It's probably going to be your best way to meet a man. So like go if you have to. Pick a good field where you're going to be around smart dudes who have things going for
use
them.
it as your
Yeah. And then like when you meet him, drop out. Get married. And like I'm raising them in the sense that they are the advisor to whoever it is they end up with.
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Orthodoxy is the most reverent of women.
Yeah.
Because of the Theotokos. But it's also just not. It's just not like there's just some weird.
Well, we honor
Both,
race, but there's the heresy of ethnophilatism, which is like you put race above God, you put race above the church. So it has its place of honor.
Yeah. And I don't think I do that. I might. I don't know.
You just mentioned it, but you just said because of that's something that you're.
Yeah. Well, like
whatever.
you know, you think of like the American feminist movement, for example, is quite literally an attack on the way the esteem we hold women in, because it's like we hold women in such high esteem. It's like, well, why don't they vote? Why can't they work? And it's like, oh,
because we hold them. That's why they veil, because we hold them in such high esteem.
Yeah, yeah, but it was like using our kindness against us in a way that subverted the kindness. You know.
If you're so kind, you have to destroy them. Like that's how you're kind to them. Destroy them.
Yeah. And obviously, like, our grandparents and great-grandparents didn't see it that way, unfortunately.
Yeah, they got one-shotted by propaganda.
They did. And
we're so smart.
I was listening to
We're so much smarter than that.
I was listening to a thing recently talking about propaganda and how propaganda used to be so bad, and so you'd see like this bad pencil drawing of like an octopus stretching his hands around the world, and like our grandparents fell for it, and like now think of the propaganda machine we have turned on us. It's like, I'm not taking your fucking vaccine, dude. And, you know, it's
kind of nuts, man. Again, one of those situations. Guys just gotta pray for them, man. They can't help it.
Yeah.
They don't know any better.
And I think part of my reaction against the plan trusting is like my dad is like, I love my dad, but he's Gen X,
QAnon.
but he's like full blown QAnon, and it's like any semblance of
that's like schizo plan trusting.
Yeah, trust the plan is like immediately comes off as that, and I just have like such a reaction.
You gotta have an
we do it like
understanding of it's
real and ironic at the same time.
irony. It's both. It's true and not true.
Yeah,
because you're manifesting that. Like you're by pretend. It's cheering for Triple H against the Undertaker or whatever.
I mean, so like I saw a.
You want to believe in the show because first of all, it's more fun. It's a lot more fun to glaze Trump than to be like.
Yeah.
Second of all, it's like. It's the self-fulfilling prophecy. The more you do that, the more likely it is that whatever. That's just what it seems.
Yeah.
Not that that's how it works in wrestling or whatever,
well,
but it's like there's something going on there, and the for certain the wrong way to get what you want is to constantly bicker and be a little.
No, I agree with that, and that's why I don't engage in it. Like
But then we wouldn't call you black pillar.
I'm not a black pillar.
Yeah, Justin
that was a meme.
Yeah.
We talked about it at church on Sunday. Yeah, we talked about that at church on Sunday. Like, I'll chirp it like Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson on X or whatever, but my project is academic. Like, I'm trying to stay as divorced from the political sphere as I can. But like we didn't talk about the 600,000 Chinese students.
Oh, that's right.
Right now, go.
So I'll give you my interpretation of it that I heard and I've bought into because it seems plausible enough. So